For the longest time, we believed the Bronze Dragons to be the protectors of Azeroth, while the Infinite Dragonflight were trying to change time to bring back the old gods and chaos. However, a recent Blizzard interview drastically changed this lore yet again. Nozdormu, as he was blessed by the Titans, he was also blessed with their view on things, and that is the time has to go one way and everything else is heresy, which really may just be yet another outlet of the Titan conquest of Azeroth. The Infinites, on the other hand, are trying to break this hourglass. We also learned that they're changing the dynamic of the Infinites by making them more rational and less chaotic, and there are also some changes with the Bronze Dragons as well. It was confirmed that alternate realities and time travel will be a big part of this expansion. So what does all this information mean? Is Morozond even a bad guy, and could we see the Bronze Dragons breaking away from their purpose? Right now, Gamivo has some amazing sales, which you can check out with my link in the description. You can get The Witcher, anything Warcraft related, gift cards, and a bunch of games at really amazing prices. Best of all, if you use my code DORON, you can add an additional discount as well. So make sure to click my link in the description and check out Gamivo and get some really great deals. Infinite Dragons have been mysterious pretty much since their creation, and not all that much has changed even now in Dragonflight. We still don't really know what is going on. However, recently Steve Denuser gave an interview which introduced a significant change to not only their purpose, but the dynamic between the Infinite Dragonflight and the Bronze Dragonflight. While they're trying to create a pretty long-winded narrative now, I think it is pretty safe to say that they never really originally planned to do this with the Infinite Dragons. As before, they were just a side villain, just this super chaotic time-traveling force that were trying to bring the Hour of Twilight and, in a way, to assist the old gods. As far as we know, they were created by Morozond in order to break the Hourglass of Time and to revert his fate. Nozdormu, as he has a gift to predict the future, also has a curse where he will eventually turn into this evil Morozond, and this future guy essentially creates his own corrupted fight in order to prevent his demise and apparently create the Hour of Twilight where the old gods rule over Azeroth, as that would apparently be better than what is to come. Now, before this was super vague, but now this is actually starting to make a lot more sense. Much like how we just learned that the Titans have been spreading a lot of propaganda and lying, it is natural that the Bronze Dragons have been doing the same, as they're really just an extension of the Titan rule. The Dragons are really just the Titan minions, and they are protecting the Titan timeline. I'm guessing all of you are already familiar with this. If not, you can watch like a dozen videos on the channel I have on these topics, but long story short, we are now getting both old god and Titan propaganda, and the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. The entire cleansing of Azeroth and the Titan Order may have been a fairy tale, and who really knows what primordial Azeroth really was and what really occurred back in the day. However, we have learned, as the Titans are beings of order, everything has to be one way, and that is the way of order. They have a very strict hierarchy, they have a vision of the universe that must be created according to what they believe. Everything else is heresy and is punished. We had also seen this with the fact that they tried to remove Titan Forge at Rebuild for some unknown reason, albeit unsuccessfully, and in certain documents we learned they aren't exactly fans of their workforce thinking for themselves. On the other hand, we have the old gods and the Void, and they're pretty much exact polar opposite. They know nothing of rigid hierarchies, they battle each other, there is no vision, there are endless truths, which of course is yet another extreme. This is now a perfect parallel between the Bronze and the Infinite, the Titan and the chaotic Dragonflight. Now keep in mind, this isn't even just my own speculation or like my theory, like literally we have an official interview from Steve Denuser where he talks about how Amantul, the leader of the Titan Pantheon, is the creator of Nozdormu in the Bronze Dragonflight, and he naturally completely passed his will on them. Amantul, as you may know, is a master of temporal magic. However, master in the framework of order, he sees one timeline that must happen, and that is where everything is ordered and everything else is just a lie. So things are going to happen this way, and we are going to shatter whatever alternate reality so that it doesn't mess with the purpose. This means that they completely reject possibilities where there is disorder and chaos and beings have free will, and unless you're planning on serving the Titans, you are now living on the wrong timeline. So naturally, they extended this line of thinking to the Bronze Dragonflight, and the embodiment of this is, of course, Nozdormu. So Nozdormu isn't fighting for for preserving history to help us, he is in fact being a Titan pawn, and he's making sure that it goes according to their ordered vision, so keeping all of us in a rigid timeline. Now, Blizzard actually elaborates a bit further on this, but not really too much in detail because obviously there are a lot of spoilers. What is certain is that the Infinite Dragons versus the Bronze are going to be a major part of the Dragon fight. Like, this isn't even new info, you have seen these quest lines in the main leveling one. However, I think things are going to be a lot more complex, and we are going to completely change our thinking about time travel and everything we had known thus far. So, I don't necessarily think the Bronze Dragons and Nozdormu are evil and tyrants. It's more of a figure of speech. I think they're being so indirectly because they were so thoroughly brainwashed and influenced by the Titans that they don't really know, like it's just their nature. However, the Bronze Dragons, like the dragon fight itself, is not exactly a hive mind either. You might have seen certain Bronze Dragons turning into infinite ones, such as Dormu back in Worlds of Draenor, probably because they figured out what was really going on. Furthermore, there have also been a few dragons recently that are getting a bit of a mind of their own, and even, if you might have noticed, Nozdormu personally seems a bit more insecure, like he's not really so sure what is really going on. He may be kinda sniffing the truth. So, I think the Bronze Dragons are victims in a way similar to all of us that were influenced by the Titans that we didn't even know we were influenced by the Titans. Furthermore, the lore of the Infinites is drastically changing as well. Previously, they were just these chaotic beings that were trying to mess with us on every step of the way wherever we were going, without really much rhyme or reason. However, now in Dragonfight, they seem a bit more organized, a bit more negotiable, a bit more rational. We even had a confirmation from Steve Denuser where he said that we will, in this expansion, see the different sides of the Infinites, that they're not just a monolithic flight with one single evil purpose, and they also have a bit more adaptability. Like, these are his actual words. So maybe the truth is going to be somewhere in the middle. We might see a reunion between Nozdormu and Murozond, and that the story is not what we believed it to be. Even more interestingly, a lot of things from the past are starting to make more sense. For example, we have this Infinite Dragonfight quote: "The time has come to shatter this clockwork universe forever. Let us no longer be slaves of the hourglass." All of this is, as you may have noticed, a similar theme we are kind of seeing everywhere. Sylvanas, we never had free will. The recent influence the Titans had on dragons in the experiments, and the hourglass and the time stuff just seems like another dimension of the rule someone else imposed on us. Furthermore, in the interview, Steve didn't really want to reveal much, but when asked could we see alternate timelines of Azeroth in this expansion, he seemed to suggest that it might actually be happening. Now, keep in mind, of course, I don't think things are really all that black and white, as in like now with this new lore, old gods are the good guys, the paragons of free will fighting for all of us, but I think it's just propaganda from both sides, and we're just stuck in this battle between these two cosmological giants. One is offering us order and their zealotry, and the other are offering us chaos. While we are not really a part of any of these forces, we're just kinda caught in their crossfire. This, even more interestingly, brings us to the old quote of Anduin seeing the final battle between the light and the void. For a lot of detailed info on this, you can check out my previous video where I cover this entire story, but essentially, there was a comic and a vision where Anduin is an old man, and he's about to embark into the biggest cosmological battle ever between the light and the dark. Then, we believe this to be retconned, as Blizzard told us this is just one possible timeline that might happen, but there are many outcomes. Some may be true, some may be false. However, now with the fact that we have Anduin missing, with the fact that we know humans can travel across the universe, spend hundreds of years while only being missing for a few decades on Azeroth, as we can see in Terrellian, this vision doesn't seem so distant anymore, especially the fact that Anduin may be returning quite soon. Furthermore, we have this purpose that the Infinite Dragons always exclaimed, and that is that even the rule of the old gods is better than what is to come. Most recently, we learned from yet another interview that N'Zoth is aware of this what is to come and is sort of preparing for it, and it is the exact same what is to come that the Jailer had been talking about at the end of Shadowlands. I really don't think it is anything out of the ordinary to connect this, and I think it might just be the same thing. All these forces are talking about the same thing. I don't think we are now going to start following the Infinite Dragonfight and battling Nozdormu as the ultimate villain of the Dragonfight, but we might realize that neither of these fights are the good or the bad guys. Thank you for watching. Check out Where is Anduin actually by clicking on the screen, and also check out the Rise Academy for videos of real world history. See you next time!